so let's talk just a minute about your test that's coming up. So your test is due on the 10th at midnight. So that is Sunday night. You certainly don't have to wait till the last minute. I wouldn't. Allow yourself at least 2 hours. It will turn off at 11:59, so you don't want to start at 11:30. Okay. Before you get to the test, of course, have all your homework done and your reviews. You want to review some before your test. When you get into the testing area, clear off your desk space. You can have blank paper. If you prefer paper with lines, that's fine. Please take it out of your notebook. Sometimes Honor Lock will flag you if it's in a notebook. You can have your calculator, but no cell phone in the area. You know, of course, paper or whatever you want to write with. All right, so you will go into our course shell, and then you will go to Honor Lock is the first thing. Sorry, I didn't turn off my email.
I have another question, like really fast, about the blank paper.
Okay.
What if I prefer to write on the paper which is on some sort of like notebook, but notebook will be clear?
Are you talking about an electronic device, an electronic
No,
notebook?
I'm talking about paper, regular paper, because I don't really like when paper is on the table. It's like too hard to write.
They will flag you for that because it says no notes, and so they count that as a notebook. So
Okay.
just take the paper out, but you can have multiple sheets. You don't have to have just one sheet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you can have a few little sheets. And if anyone prefers the paper with grid lines, that's okay. You don't have to have blank. Okay, just no notes on it. So when you go on Blackboard, the first thing you're going to do is click on this Honor Lock link on the left toolbar. Now, also make sure you have your photo ID ready because they're going to ask for that. Right, and what you can see right now is a practice. I would probably do that little practice thing first. You just click on it. It's 4 questions. They're not math questions, but it kind of takes you through the process and lets you, so they make you do your webcam and show your ID, that kind of thing. And then they ask 4 questions, but they're not math. So I would suggest that if you've never used Honor Lock, just to make you comfortable when you get to the test. Then the test is here. So once you go here, you click on it. It will take you to Honor Lock, and they will do your webcam and approve your ID, all that. They'll do that on every test. Okay. Once you've done that, then you will be able to go back into our Blackboard shell. I'm not sure from right there. I can't see from right there what happens because I'm not a student. But you go back to our Blackboard shell, and you will choose My Open Math to get to your test. So go to My Open Math, and then your test is in Module 2. And the test is right here. You will click on the test, and it will ask for a password. Honor Lock has to enter the password. If it doesn't enter it, sometimes you have to click in the box. Also, your practice test is there. Do your practice test ahead of time. So if I click on the test, hopefully it won't show it. Okay, good. So this is how it's going to come up to you. And if Honor Lock should enter the password. Okay. If not, you can try to click, and that might force it to enter. If it doesn't enter, you have to go on the live chat with Honor Lock and tell them, and just tell them the password didn't enter, and so then they'll have to enter it for you. So, other questions about doing the test? One other thing, while you're doing the test, I want you to write your problems on paper, show your steps, number the problems, and then after your test is submitted, you will get out your phone and scan it. And then that will upload into Blackboard. Like you did the assignment before. All right, let me get back off of this. Let's see if it'll click. Okay, so once you've scanned your paper, then you will go right here. We did this one before, so now you're going to go to PDF test uploads, and you would do test 1, and that's where you would upload your work. So, you scan it, you email it to yourself, save it as a file, and then come back here and load it, just like you did your PDF assignment before. So, any other questions there about the test? All right. So I have a question in the chat. Are we going to go over Mod 2 Homework 9 today? Yes, we would definitely go over that, and that is a new skill for you guys. So I would expect that to be a little bit harder. Okay. Do make sure that you're watching the videos and taking your notes ahead of time. But also, we will look at that homework section. All right. I will move this and we will get to the homework. If anybody prefers a face-to-face review, I don't know what they are at all campuses, but I know on Mueller campus in Vero Beach, there is a review tomorrow. It is at 9:30, and it is in the A building, 129. If you prefer an in-person review, you might try that ASC link on the left toolbar of Blackboard, and it should list when their 1033 reviews in person are. I sent you the link for the, it's a recording, but some people like to go in person, so I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, let me see if I can get my pages back up. Very good, they did not go away. And my open math is the other one. This one. Very good, and it kept my calculator, yay! Sometimes technology is a little bit challenging. All right, so this section, Mod 2 Homework 8, is actually a pretty easy section. That's why there's more than one in this lesson. And this is monomial division. And we'll go ahead and just do problem 1. In this kind of problem, your divisor has to be just one term. That means no signs in between your pieces. So what you're going to do is split this problem up at the signs and put each one over this denominator. So we're going to do negative 18y to the 15th over 6y squared minus 24y to the 9th over 6y squared and minus 6y to the 8th over 6y squared. Then you're going to clean up with exponent rules. So you're just working on each little fraction at a time here. So on the first one, your numbers are going to reduce or divide out. 6 will divide evenly into 18. So this is going to go negative 3 times. For your variables, remember, subtract the exponents. So 15 minus 2 will give us 13. And we no longer have a fraction in that piece. Right, the next one, and we only have one negative here, so it will be negative. or minus. 6 into 24 will go 4 times. On your y's, subtract 9 minus 2 leaves 7. And this one, the 6's are going to cancel. When that happens, if that's the only thing there, it will go 1 time. But you have something else there, so you don't have to write anything for the 6's. Just subtract on the y. So it gives you y to the 6th. Okay. I'm just going to look at the answer. You guys should be experienced by now with putting in exponents. You would not have to have the 1 there. If you do have it or not in front of the y to the 6th, it's okay. All right, I picked a couple more questions. Will, I see that your microphone is on, but I can't hear you.
Oh, Superman. I respect so much.
I am so sorry. I can still not hear you. You could write it to me in the chat, or you could possibly go out and come back in. Sometimes that fixes any sound issues. That sounded a little better just then. So do you have a question, Will?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Now I can hear you very clearly. And so I'll just say, please mute your mic. Thank you very much. All right. Yes, it's fine to ask a question anytime that we're going. All right. So let's do another one of these. I picked number 2. Let's see what was different in it, why I picked it. I picked it because at the end, the 2x and the 2x to the third is going to divide out. So I wanted just to remind you there to put a 1. Right, so it is a monomial division. Your divisor has 1 term, no signs between. So you're going to split it and make 3 fractions. This one has something else I wanted you guys to also see. So then we're going to clean up each one. For the first one, 2 will go into 4 2 times. On your exponents, subtract. Right, next term, 2 will go into 8 4 times. Now, you have to be careful here. You have the most x's in the denominator, so when you subtract 3 minus 2, it's going to leave an x. It is going to have to go where the larger one was, so it's going to go in the denominator. So you're going to get a fraction on that one. This one, everything divides out. You are dividing, so if everything divides out, it is going to go 1 time. So we will enter this one to make sure that there's not anything tricky. So I have 4x. I need an exponent button. 2. I need to come back down. I need plus a fraction. 4 down. X, and you want to get out from under that denominator. Minus 1. Oh no! What did Miss H do wrong? So, 2 into 4 goes 2 times. All right, right here. Sorry. Good thing I entered it. Well, we would have seen it. I would have checked it either way. This is 2. Mrs. H went too fast. Let's change it and see if that fixes it. Okay, sorry about that. All right, I picked 2 more. Let's see if we really need 2 more. Yes, I think we should do one with a negative divisor. You really have to watch your signs on this. So you'll have to help Mrs. H if she messes it up. And all of this is over negative 6b cubed x squared. So you're going to make 3 fractions. Right, and now we're going to clean them up. So in the first one, for our 2 signs, that will give us positive. 6 into 54 will go 9 times. For your b, subtract. So 10 minus 3 will give 7. And the x's subtract. 8 minus 2 gives us 6. Right. On the next one, because you have minus and negative together, you need to put plus there. And 6 into 12 will go 2 times. For the b's, subtract 8 minus 3 will give us 5. And the x's subtract. And that will give us 5. Also here you have minus and negative, so you need to put plus. 6 into 18 will go 3. For your b, 6 minus 3 is 3. And the x's 9 minus 2 is 7. We're just going to look at the answer on that and not type it all in. So 9x to the 7th, b to the 7th x to the 6th, plus 2b to the 5th x to the 5th, plus 3b cubed x to the 7th. So we're good there. All right, and I had just one more marked. Number 10. And I picked this one because sometimes your numbers won't divide out and you have to reduce. I was looking for one that would reduce, but this one is just going to divide out. It's already in lowest terms. All right, so you're going to make your 3 separate fractions. So 4x to the 6th over 2x cubed minus 6x to the 4th over 2x cubed plus 3x cubed over 2x cubed. All right, and then we'll clean each one up. So 2 will go into 4 2 times. Subtract for your variables will give us x to the 3rd. This one, 2, will go into 6 3 times. And 4 minus 3 will leave us x to the 1st. Right, this one, 2 does not go evenly into 3, and 3 over 2 does not have any common factors, so it does not reduce. So you're going to have to keep the 3 over 2. Your x's are actually going to cancel, and you already have something there, so you don't have to write a 1 on that one. Okay, and we'll just check, and it looks good. Any questions on this section? All right, let's go to the next section. It will take me just a minute to switch. Also, this quiz is going to turn on. I meant to open that already. I did not. So I'll try to open that up after class. I have to review it first, make sure it's okay. All right. So this section is going to have what we call synthetic division. You might remember long division from elementary or middle school, and you had to divide everything out. This is a way with algebra to do that without the variables in the way. And so it's a little shortcut for long division. Then at the end, you put the variables back on. So that's basically what we're going to do. And this is Mod 2 Homework 9. And it is called synthetic division. When you get in college algebra, you will use this quite a bit. And then they will probably say which cases you can use it for and which cases you can't. If your divisor is of the form x plus or minus some number, you can use the synthetic division. If this was x squared, you could not. You would have to use a long division. And if you have a number here, then it's a lot more work if you have a coefficient in front of the x other than 1. But we're not going to have those, but you'll hear that at some point. All right, so let me write the problem first. And it doesn't matter if it's written horizontally or vertically. And we are dividing by, I'm going to change the notation just a little bit for space. All right, so we're dividing this whole polynomial by this binomial. And you want to make sure that your polynomial you're dividing into, your dividend, is in descending order. So 3, 2, 1 constant. That's what you want. And this is the piece you're going to divide by. So you have this funny looking little division grid. I usually make mine different than they do. But theirs is fine. Right, and out here you're going to put your divisor. You're only going to use the number, and you're going to use the opposite sign. If you remember with long division, you subtract in here. We don't want to do that, so using the opposite sign here takes care of that. So we're going to do opposite sign, which will be a minus 3. So that is what we're going to divide by. It's always opposite sign here. Right? Then you're going to put on this top line your coefficients of your variables in the dividend. And you have to make sure you're not missing any terms. If you are, you need a 0 for a placeholder and that it's in descending order. So this one looks good. So my coefficient of x cubed is 1, of x squared is 5, of x 7, and my constant. And I was not missing any. All right, then you're going to skip a row. And this first one just comes down. Right? From there, you're going to multiply and then combine. So your first multiplication, get a different color, is this way. Right? So negative 1 times negative 3 gives you 3, and you're going to put it in this spot. Gives you negative 3. You can put it in this spot. Right? So that was the multiplication on that little diagonal. This will be just combined. So this is just your positives and negatives, whatever your rules are. These are different signs. So they're going to subtract sign of the larger. Okay. Now you're going to multiply again. So we're doing a little diagonal again. 2 times negative 3 gives negative 6, and that will go in the next column. Right? Then you combine. Well, 7 minus 6 is 1. So we're good there. And we're going to multiply again. 1 times negative 3 is a negative 3. Goes in the last column. And these will combine to give us a 6. Right? And now we're going to put the variables back on. Right? So you drop 1 degree lower than where you started. We started at x cubed. So when we put this back together, we're going to have 1x squared. I'll put the 1, but you don't need to write it. Right? Plus 2x plus 1. The very last column is always a remainder if there is one. If it's 0, there's no remainder. So this is 6 over your divisor. Now, that's how you would do it if you were just given the problem to do. Let's go back and see about filling in their boxes. So, and I didn't test this, so I might get it right, I might not. We'll see. All right, so a negative 3. If not, I'll tell you how to fix it. All right, I think they wanted you to go and write the steps in this. So I'm just copying from my work. And then when I answer, I have to put the variables back. So, and the quotient is just going to be this first part. So this piece will be the quotient. And this will be my remainder, except on this problem, they don't want you to put the whole remainder. They just want you to put the 6. All right, so I'm going to type that in this box. So I'm going to do x to the second and come down plus 2x plus 1. That should be good. My remainder is 6. And then to write it the other way, to write it the way I have it. So x to the second, come down, plus 2x plus 1 plus fraction 6 over x plus 3. All right, let's submit and see if we did what they wanted. All right, so that's actually a good question because it's checking every little piece and you could see if you messed up where you would have messed up. Right, let's see, we've got one more wanting to come in. Right, so let's go to another problem. The next one I picked is problem 2. So we have x cubed minus x squared plus x minus 11 divided by x minus 3. Right, we are in descending order. We are not missing any terms. 3, 2, x to the first constant. So we're good. Set up with your division grid. So this is minus. We want to do plus 3, opposite sign. Now take your coefficients. So 1 minus 1 for x squared, 1 for x, and minus 11. Skip a row, and first one comes down. All right, so we're going to multiply this way. 1 times 3 is 3, and then it's going to go here, our answer. So then you're going to combine 3 minus 1 is 2. And then you're going to multiply again. 2 times 3 is 6, which will go over here. And then you combine. 7 times 3 is 21, which will go over here. And then you're going to combine. So 21 minus 11 would be a 10. And we'll put it back together. We started at x cubed, so we're going to have 1x squared. And you don't have to write that 1. Plus 2x plus 7 plus 10 over x minus 3. And they're not going to want all of that because of the way they made the boxes. In this box, they're only going to want the 10. Right, so x squared plus 2x plus 7 and your 10. You guys stop me if you have a question. All right, next one I picked was number 4. I don't see anything different on it, but that's okay. I picked it for some reason. So 2x cubed minus 13x squared. Whoops. Plus 10x minus 18. Maybe just because they wrote it in vertical form. Okay. But this piece is your divisor. So we are in descending order. We're not missing any terms. Okay, we want the opposite sign here. So we want a 6. You want your coefficients. So we want 2, negative 13, 10, and negative 18. Skip a row, and we're going to bring down. So 2 times, and then you multiply back. So 2 times 6 is 12, and remember it's going to go over here. You're going this way, and then the answer will go here. Then you combine, negative 1. Multiply again, negative 1 times 6 is a negative 6, and it goes over here in the next column. 10 minus 6 is 4. Multiply again. 4 times 6 is 24. Goes over here. And then you're going to combine. You have different signs there. Subtract. So that would be 14 minus 8 would be 6. And it would be positive. All right. So we do have a remainder again. That didn't turn out to be 0. Let's put it back together. We started at x cubed, so we're going to have x squared. So we have 2x squared minus x plus 4 plus 6 over x minus 6. And I think they want that whole answer because they say here to be sure to answer in quotient plus remainder over divisor form. All right, so we'll type that one in. So we have 2x, we need exponent, the second, and it needs to come down, minus x plus 4. All right, and we're going to do plus a fraction button. Six over x minus 6. And click at the end. All right, and if that syntax error stays up there, you don't want to submit. You have something in a manner that they don't like it. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means they don't like it and they'll count it wrong. All right, let's submit and hope we get green there. All right. So next I skip to problem number 8 to try to get something different. And this one is missing a term. right? It is descending order, but it's missing an x squared. So in the x squared spot, we're going to put a 0. Right, so we set up our division grid. We want the opposite sign from our divisor, so we want an 8 here. Right, so we'll have 1 for x cubed. We have to have 0, and I'm just going to write little x squared there. That way I remember what spot it is. You don't have to write that. That is just to help me, but it might help you too. All right, so x cubed, x squared. Okay, we do have plain x, and we have a constant. Sometimes you're missing more than one. Draw your line, and first one comes down. Now it's normal. You're going to multiply this way. 1 times 8 is 8, and it's going into the next column. Right, 8 plus 0 is 8. Multiply again. 8 times 8 is 64. It's going to go over here in the next column. Combine, and this will give us a -3. Multiply again. -3 times 8 is a -24. And this is different sign, subtract sign of the larger. 14 minus 9 would be 5. So 15. Right. And let someone else in. Now we'll put it back together. So we started at x cubed. So this one will be 1x squared plus 8x minus 3. So see, you did get this one that was missing, the x squared. All right, so we have a minus 15. I don't think it matters if you do plus a -15 over x minus 8, or if you just put the minus here. It should take either one, but if not, we'll find that out. So we'll type this one in because it has a possible trouble spot. Right, I think I'm going to do it with the plus. Right, because the fraction is a separate piece. Yeah, they scream about this. All right, doesn't look like it screamed. All right, so it took it. So I put the plus and just that, the negative that was with the 15, I put it up on top there. But I think it also should have taken it if you put minus here and that. It might not on the ones where it's asking for the remainder separately. All right, I had one more picked out. So for the person who asked me about this section at the beginning, sorry, I don't have that in chat anymore. I hope I'm answering your questions. If not, please let me know. Everybody gets different numbers in their spots. It's a random program, so you always should get the same type of question, but you would get different numbers. So yes, they would be different from mine probably. You are welcome. But it'll give you a good example to work with. All right, so question 10, I don't know. Oh, this one is missing 2 terms. That's why I picked this one. All right, so we'll write it first. X to the 4th plus 3x cubed minus 9 over x minus 1. All right, so we can do the long division. We want a positive 1 here because you want an opposite sign. This is descending order. You know, when it did that a while ago, it gave me one that was not in descending order. They should be similar. If it's not descending order, put it in descending order. All right, but you have to watch out here because you're missing 2 terms. So we have 1x to the 4th, 3x cubed. I don't have an x squared. Also, I don't have an x to the 1st, so I'm just putting those to help me, and a minus 9. That way I get all my spaces I need. Then you're set to go. That was the extra piece to watch for. First one comes down. Now, standard step. You're going to multiply this way. 1 times 1 is 1, and it goes into the next column. And 3 plus 1 is 4. Multiply again. 4 times 1 is 4. It's going over here. So this is why you needed this placeholder. You're going to get something that will go in that spot. And you multiply this way. 4 times 1 is 4. It will go here. And that will give you 4. And 4 times 1 is 4. And this will give us 5 at the end. So now we'll put it back together. And we started at x to the 4th on this one. So our first term is going to be x to the 3rd. You just drop 1 degree lower plus 4x squared plus 4x plus 4. Last column gives you a remainder if it's non-zero. So 5 over x minus 1. Right, and I'm going to skip typing this one. We'll see if I got it right. X cubed, that piece looks good. And this, they've just made you the fraction there. I should have got negative 5. Subtract sign of the larger. And x minus 1. Any question in this section? All right. Since we have a little extra time, I looked at a few from your review. I won't have time to do a bunch, but just some of the ones at the beginning, I thought we might look at those. So that's more than was on your schedule. It'll take me a second to go back here. And I pulled up your review. And I will get that quiz turned on for you guys also. The review is here, practice test. And you definitely should do that. Make note, you get bonus points on a sliding scale. But they're set up like the homework where you can do individual problems over. So if you have a 68, you do a problem over. You want it to be over 70 so you get at least some points. Or if you had an 88, you do 1 over. All right, so let's turn that on. And it has a few problems, but that's okay. Had a whole bunch of sections to pull in here. Okay. So this is including everything we've learned. So this is the review. Or practice test, I think it's called. Right, and I did pick question 1. This is an equation with fractions. You want to make sure that you can clear those out. Right, you have to make sure it is an equation, which it is. All right, let me finish this question. Jake and I will go back to that. Okay. So let's clear the denominators out. Pick your common denominator. So least common denominator is going to be a 9. Everything goes into 9. So that is your LCD. You're going to use it on top. Right? And then you're going to cancel. So 3 into 9 will go 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3, and you have an x. Okay, this one, the 9's cancel, so you have a minus 2. This one, the 9's cancel, so we have minus 2x. And this one, 3 will go into 9 3 times. So we have 3 times negative 2 will be a negative 6. See, that looks much better. And now you just have x on both sides. So get rid of one of those. I'm going to get rid of the 2x. This goes out, and that leaves me 5x minus 2 equals negative 6. Now it's a standard two-step equation. Add your 2. So we have 5x equals negative 4. You are going to get a fraction for an answer here. So x equals negative 4 fifths. And we'll just look at the answer. All right, let me backtrack into some of these other ones and answer the question. So the question is how you put the equation back together. So what you're going to do, you want this last row, these are going to be your coefficients, and in your variables, so you've got all this done. You originally started with x to the 4th. You're going to go 1 degree lower, which would be x to the 3rd. So you're looking here, 1 lower, and these will be the coefficients. So we're going to have 1x to the 3rd, and this will be your coefficient of x squared. So you're just going down, 4x squared. This will be x plus 4x, and this is your constant. Anything in this last column is a remainder. So we just put plus negative 5 over your entire divisor. So this last row is the coefficients that go back with your variables, but go down 1 degree from what you started. Does that help? Right, let me do one more just to make sure that's okay. So if I backtrack to this one, and it may have bothered you because I just jumped to x squared and didn't put the 1 in front. The 1 is optional there, but all right. So we've done all the work, and now we have to put it back together. Okay, so we know we're going to start with degree lower than what we had. We had x cubed, so this one needs to go to x squared, and this will be a 1x squared. This will be plus 8x minus 3, and then this is always your remainder, so plus a negative 15 over your entire divisor. So that is how you get the variables back in the problem. Okay. And this one is optional when there's not a number there, but that helps, I think, for understanding. Any other question on that? Right.
I actually have a question about the scantrons for the test.
Okay, you don't need a Scantron for your test.
Oh, it's all on my open math?
It's all in my open math.
That sounds good. Sweet, thank you.
Very good. That way you're used to answering, because the questions come out of the same pool as the homework. So, you know, if you've had trouble entering something before, it's going to be the same kind of situation. Anything else about the test or anything? All right, let's do a few more out of this review. I just picked about 6, I think. So let's go down. I picked problem 4 next. I have found that, well, this one's a word problem, but we'll do it. The inequalities are the things that students tend to forget, and it's because you do them in that one section and then you don't touch them again. All right. But let's look at this one word problem. This is one of those, the percent ones, and it's an increase or decrease, so you have to decide. And I usually do this with a formula. And this person got a raise, So a raise is going to be plus. So it's original. So that would be like last year's salary. It'll be plus here. It would be minus like if something was on sale. So plus an increase equals the final. And normally you have to do a calculation here. Percent times the original. All right. This particular problem is the hardest kind of these because it's asking you for the salary last year. So it's asking you the original. And when you don't know the original, you have to put a variable there. The one it gave you is this year's. And I'm going to leave off that decimal and zeros. Okay, and so in between here, we're going to add, because it was a raise, it was 5%. Remember, switch that to a decimal. Drop your percent 2 places to the left. So 0.05 times your original. So you've got your x also in that expression. Now you're going to put your like terms together. Your coefficient of your first term is a 1. So 1 plus 0.05 is 1.05. Use your calculator if you're bothered by decimals. Right. And then you're going to divide, and you definitely would want your calculator here. You're going to punch it in, and it's important to go top to bottom. So I have 33495 divided by 1.05. Enter. So I'll put my money symbol back now. 31,900. It does not want you to put the commas in. And we were at the nearest cent, so there's no rounding that's necessary. But we can just, and you don't need to put the dollar symbol, it's already there. So 31,900. So you should remember that little formula. Right. I did pick question 5. This is formula solving, or sometimes they're called literal equations. And it's because the variable is in the denominator, the one that you want's in the denominator. So that makes it a little bit more work. So y equals 5 over 9 minus x, and we're solving for x. So you can't solve for it in the denominator spot. You need it out of there. So the way to get it out, you're going to multiply by this common denominator. So 9 minus x will be your common denominator. So you're going to multiply by that. It will make this one cancel. Now your x is no longer in the denominator. Let's see, we're solving for x. So we need to get the x out of the parentheses, so we'll distribute. So we get 9y minus xy equals 5. And now you're going to isolate the x. So I'm going to subtract the 9y. And you need to go over some or just do it at the end. So a negative xy equals 5 minus 9y. And I want x. So I'm going to divide by a negative y. And this gives me y equals, I think there's nothing wrong with this. They might not like that negative in the denominator. Let's put it in like this and see if they scream about it. So solve for x. You know what? I marked out the wrong one. Sorry, guys. That was a lie. That's the piece that was going away. And the two negatives gave me a positive x there. All right, so I think you have to type the X in. You do have to watch, these were all lowercase, so you would need that. And we'll see if it screams about my sign at the bottom. 5 minus 9y over negative y. Good. You could have a different answer that is similar, and it would just have, it's equivalent, right? It would have taken this negative and put it through the numerator. So you would have negative 5 plus 9y over y is an equivalent answer. So it's supposed to be programmed to accept either one. All right. And we have a little bit more time. So let's look at these inequalities. These are the ones that usually get people. All right, so question 7. So we have 5 over 2 plus y less than or equal to 18 over 10. So you are going to multiply through by the LCD. You don't want those fractions. So a common denominator would be 10. So you're going to multiply by 10. You do have to do every term for it to be okay. Then you're going to clean up. 2 will go into 10 5 times. So 5 times 5 is 25 plus 10y less than or equal to 18. And then you're going to isolate your y. It's best if you keep your variable on the left. That will make it easy to get interval notation or a graph. So we want the y. So we're going to get rid of the 25. So we have to subtract it from both sides. So I have 10y is less than or equal to, let's see, 15 minus 8 would be 7, and this will be negative. Right, and now you're down to your divide step. You have to watch out for multiply and divide in the inequalities. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, it flips your symbol over. It changes the order. You divide by the sign of the coefficient. So this one's going to divide by positive. We don't care that the other side's negative. So I'm going to do it just right here because it's not going to flip. So my y is less than or equal to negative 7/10. Right, and they have asked me to write interval notation. Okay, so it's easiest, I think, if you do the graph. So our little endpoint is negative 7/10. Y is less than that, so it's going to be over here. And there's an equals underneath. That will be a bracket. If you were drawing it, they would make it a closed-in circle. Right, but bracket is good to go to interval notation. Now, interval notation is starting point and stopping point of the shaded part. Right, so it's coming from the left forever. That has to go first. You want to always go left to right. So negative infinity, it's going up to negative 7/10. And that should have a bracket, so you will have one here. The equals underneath is what caused it to be a bracket rather than a parentheses. All right, we can enter that one. So if you would like, you can use the interval notation. You just have to watch and pick the right one. So I have parentheses on the left and bracket on the right. Then I want the negative infinity. And that hint on there was telling you how to type it with keyboard strokes. And then I'm gonna go back in my basic one so I get a function. I did the comma, a fraction, sorry. So I'm gonna put my negative fraction, 7, go down, 10, and I have the bracket already. Any question there? All right. have just two more that I picked out, both inequalities. So this one, you're going to have to multiply by a negative, and it's going to make it flip. So multiplication or division by a negative will make it flip. Right, so as a fraction, you're going to pick your LCD. Your LCD is going to be a -2. So we're going to use that -2. We're going to multiply here and also over here, and that is going to make our order flip. Right, these cancel, so that leaves us 9x plus 1. This one's going to turn over. I'm going to make it red so you know it turned over. And this will give us -12. Nothing to cancel out. Now you just solve. So we're going to subtract a 1. We get 9x greater than or equal to. Like signs, you're going to add, keep the sign. And then you're going to divide by 9. It's a positive 9, so it's not going to flip here. So we have x is greater than or equal to -13/9. Right? You can do a little graph. It doesn't ask for a graph. I just think they're easier with a graph. Right? And I'm showing the endpoint. X is bigger than that, so x is over here. Right? You do have an equals, which will be your bracket or solid circle. Now, to do your interval notation, this is the leftmost point. So it needs to come first. It goes forever to the right. So that goes to infinity, which needs to be second. And it will always be parentheses. Okay. So if we click in the box, and I would do, that's not what I wanted. Okay, it's going to make me type it. Oh, you know what? This one, it doesn't want interval notation. Mrs. H did not read closely. Write your solution as an inequality. It wants this answer right here. So I did a bunch of extra work. It wants this. So I click in the box, I put the X, and you're going to have to go under inequality for your symbol. You could get the regular greater than or less than for your keyboard, but not with the equals underneath. All right, now I'm going to go back to basic to get my fraction button. So -13. Whoops, I didn't do my fraction button. You can actually also do divide for the fraction. All right, so x is greater than or equal to -13/9. Good. Okay, and I picked one more. I picked number 10. 9 would be similar. It is the double inequality, and you isolate in the middle section, and this was probably a new skill for you guys. So you're going to isolate in here. You're trying to get to x. Whatever you do, you have to do to all three sections, and the sections are separated by the symbols. So we're going to first take off this 4. 3 places. Clean up. This gives me -2 less than or equal to 3x less than or equal to 0. It's okay to get a 0. And then you're going to divide by 3. We're not going to get any flipping because that's a +3. So we get -2/3. It's less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 0 divided by 3 is 0. Sorry, that was something on my computer. Okay, so interval notation, -2/3 and 0. We are in between. And I did copy my symbols. They both have equals. So this will be brackets. Interval notation, starting point. negative 2/3, stopping point 0. So, question. And they did say interval notation up here. So they have the interval button. And I have brackets and brackets this time, so I'll use that one. All right, and now I want basic. I'm going to go ahead and put my negative and my fraction 2/3. And get it out from under there. Put your comma. And 0. All right. Okay, we went all the way to the end today, so I'll stop there. If you run into any questions, please feel free to send me an email. I will be happy to write back to you and try to help. You guys have a great day.